So now that you've done your 2D animation planning, your storyboarding, now you've got the character inside of Maya and it's time to bring all of those ideas to life. So we knew that our character was going to be animated mostly from the side, kind of a 2.5D profile, similar to Street Fighter. So we knew that we didn't need to really worry too much about all of the camera angles. So we mostly animated the character from a 2D side view scroll for the duration of most of these animations. So this was his idle animation. We gave him a little bit of this bounce, this classic style of kind of Street Fighter motion that was similar to a lot of the arcade games that everyone was familiar with, giving a little bit of movement with the hands and everything that kind of brought that character to life and giving him some of that classic nostalgic feel with this really nice silhouette value that we had for this particular character. Like we were mentioning, the most important animation I think that we had to execute was the basically the 3-hit attack animation. So when we build these animations out, it's a really critical piece that we needed to create, which is that you need to have a 3-hit type of animation and you need to be able to chain this combo together. So really what is built when you create a combo animation is you're going to need to create a 1-hit attack that strikes the character. But then if the user doesn't press the button again, he needs to return back to idle. And then if you press the button once and you press the button twice, that animation needs to blend into the second hit, and then that second hit, if the player doesn't press the button again, then that animation would then need to basically blend back to the idle position. And then you need to create the full 3-hit combo. So I'm going to go and show you a little bit of what that means visually. So when you create your first attack animation, you're going to have this attack that needs to be very quick, very dynamic, but then you need to have a pose similar to this that is going to blend into your second attack. I wanted to take a brief pause to talk about today's sponsor, Class Creatives. They offer a top-ranked game design curriculum online. You'll have access to instructors with over 25 years of professional industry experience and nearly a decade of accredited university-level instruction. All courses are taught by industry veterans with experience from studios such as Disney, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, Blur, Sony, Ubisoft, Sucker Punch, Guerrilla Games, Google, and more. Character animation fundamentals teach the importance of video reference to bring characters to life utilizing Autodesk Maya and Unreal Engine. Extensive character rigging courses teach the process of how to custom rig characters for all of your project needs. The great thing about Class Creatives is the ability to learn at your own pace and your own schedule. Get started today for free with the link in the description. So the second attack then is going to kind of come across the body, and then that again then needs to blend into your third attack. So this is assuming that the character is going to hit the button consecutively, and this is allowing the player to execute all 3 animations. And then you need to have the animation that goes back to the idle position where he sheaths his sword back into his back position. Now we kind of broke these all out. From an animation standpoint, you really want to execute these in a way that you would have all of these together so that you can see it in real time. But when you execute these animations into your game engine, you're going to need to split them up because there's going to be times where the player is not going to be pressing the button 3 times each and every time. So from an animation standpoint, you want to make sure that this animation reads really well and that it looks like it has weight and that it is really reading really nicely. And then when you bring it into your game, you may need to speed up and slow things down. Now, we did originally have some animations that were a little bit slower. So for the original game, we actually had the attacks and they were going way too fast. So in here, you could kind of see the original motions for some of these animations, and they were just not reading, and they were just kind of moving a little bit too quickly. So we slowed some of them down. We added a little bit more weight, and we kind of put this into the game, and then we were able to finesse and find a nice kind of in between that still felt really quick, dynamic, and still had some weight, and still a little bit of vulnerability when the character was going for its third attack. So a little bit of more time here where you could basically kind of be a little bit more vulnerable for that third attack there. So by breaking up all these animations, there really was an opportunity to kind of, as you see here with the second attack, if you didn't execute that third button press, he would go back to idle. So each one of these animations needs to kind of be broken up in Maya so that you can essentially kind of have all of these animations brought into Unity so that you can have these different combos and different source of animations, so that if the player is pressing a button or not pressing a button, you can blend into each animation. So that was something that we really needed to keep in mind while we were still making sure that everything was executed in a really polished manner. So I'm just going to go through each one of these animations individually just to give you an idea of what each one of these looked like in the final form. So this was the spinning death saw animation that we had. And, it may not look like much inside of Maya here, but really when you bring it into the Unity engine, it really brought everything together when you kind of combine these animations that may look really simple in here. But when you brought that into the game and you execute this with some gravity coming down, it really felt really great. And it really was a really nice way to kind of make some simple animations, but then when you piece it all together and then you test it, you really can see whether or not you need to change anything in Maya. And for the most part, since this is more of a 2D arcade type of game with a little bit of throwback, just that little bit of polish that we put into this really went a long way and still felt better than a lot of the 2D more limited animations that were some of these older games that didn't have the fidelity or the finesse that you would have, or the control that we had in Maya. So you can already kind of see, even from these poses here, even though we had everything done in 3D from that camera angle that we were going to be using, the side view, everything kind of had this nice graphic feel to it. All the textures were hand painted so that you had some nice lighting and some really great visual appeal. Everything kind of felt hand painted the way that we wanted to have it from the get-go. And we were really happy with kind of how everything kind of turned out for the most part. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.